If you don't hold it, you don't own it. There is a certain amount of truth to that, a certain amount, in the respect that, we all often talk about metals being, gold and silver being assets that are not simultaneously someone else's liability. You have the complete absence or removal of counterparty risk. I mean, I think the truth is people have a greater likelihood of being ripped off by the system than they do by a burglar looking for precious metals. I think that one of the drawbacks of owning metals is the urge to help other people and talk about it. If you're going to hold it at home, you need to keep it quiet. You don't want to tell everyone about it. It's noble to want to help your friends and family, to show them what it is that you purchased. But yeah, if you are concerned about loose lips sinking ships, certainly you want to hold it at home and tell your immediate family or your loved ones, and then do a darn good job of hiding it. You don't always need to put it in a safe. You could put it in an empty paint can and splash paint on the outside of it and throw your coins in the closet or the basement with your other half-empty paint cans. You could get a big potted plant and lift up the plant and fill the bottom with gold and silver, put the plant back down, and you could bury it 2 feet underground. If you buried it in a PVC pipe capped with rubber caps on the end, vertically, not horizontally, vertically, 2 feet down, there isn't but a metal detector on the planet that will find it very easily. You can be very creative in hiding your precious metals. You can hide some in a safe and call that your decoy safe, a safe that has just enough in it to pacify a would-be burglar intruder, and a small safe or several small safes hidden throughout the house that are filled with gold and cash. You can get a little safe that, about yay big, that you buy at any handgun store, a bedside safe for handguns, but they typically have a bolt in the back of them, and you can fasten that to a stud behind, even behind sheetrock if you really want to get creative. And, I think holding it, taking possession of it, does have logistic issues. It does have security issues, but if you're creative enough, certainly you are able to hide it and keep it quiet. And I think that's typically going to be your best approach. Now, with that being said, I'm very proud of our storage program at Brinks. I believe we have the finest storage program in the industry. And for some people, whether it be living in a very dense, city type atmosphere, like in New York City and Manhattan. I just visited my son in Manhattan. He has 2 roommates. The apartment is almost $8,000 a month, and it's the size of a shoebox. I mean, it's unbelievable. So, people who are living in a place like that, well, they may have issues of being able, not only with roommates, but living in an apartment where it's so crowded all the way around you. That can become an issue. And for some people, whether it be something like that or just accumulating so much that it begins to wear on you and compromise your peace of mind and sleep at night. And then again, the most important asset you can own is peace of mind, is sleep at night. It's feeling good about things and not worrying that you're a victim waiting to happen. And if that is ever the feeling, certainly putting your metal into storage is a good alternative. And if you do that, if you do choose storage, you want to store it somewhere where it is segregated, not allocated. Allocated, the difference between allocated and segregated is that allocated means allocated to a program or to a company or to an IRA. Or when you talk about allocation, it means it's lumped together. To me, it's pooled. When you talk segregated, that's in Dunnigan's name, in Andy's name, and that's what you want. So if you're going to choose to store it somewhere, don't ever be penny wise and pound foolish, choosing allocation over segregation. Make sure it is allocated and segregated. And really, this will come into play most of the time with IRAs, where some custodians will allocate the metal and others will segregate the metal. Segregation is really what you're looking for. So whether it's a personal account or an IRA, you want to choose a company that has a very sound balance sheet. I have partnered with Brinks across the board because they're a Fortune 100 company. They've been around for 100 years. They're as solid and stable as it gets. And I also think that if you're storing, you buy metal, there are certain companies out there, and they're good retail companies. I don't have anything negative to say about any of the companies who offer storage on premises. They're good companies. But as a rule of thumb, Bullion Direct is a good example. This was a company that beat everyone in price online. Everyone asked me, similar to Tulving and Northwest Territorial Mint, why I couldn't compete with them. They also offered storage, and the young man who owned the company is in prison with $35 million worth of people's metal gone. So if you are going to choose a storage facility, it should be third party, one with a good balance sheet. You should be able to know where it is at all times and go and retrieve it if you have to. And it should be segregated. And if you do that, you've dotted your I's and crossed your T's best you could and chosen best you could in a world where choices aren't always perfect. It's as good as it's going to get if you have to relinquish control to a third party. So hold it yourself if you can. Become a midnight gardener and bury it in the ground. It's better than a safe deposit box. But if you run out of options or peace of mind, then a segregated, strong balance sheet depository where you know where it's at all times and can retrieve it if you have to would be the only way that I would ever store or relinquish my precious metals to a depository.